Well, there was a master one day who's, for his students, had put up a poster, and it kind of looked like this. Um, it it was going to be the prop, I guess you could say, for a discussion regarding self-defense, and this could be a workplace environment. This could occur at home. I mean, this could occur in a lot of different places. But the reality is that it gives you an idea of the actual layout of where an assault occurred, and the example we're going to use to highlight the thorny issues of self-defense, especially oftentimes uh, the situation gets flipped around, like they're the one that lost, the person defending themselves lost their self-control or temper, or uh, the attacker is now the victim. Okay, we've seen it. Okay, or it's like, how dare you defend yourself against this person? All right, who, whatever the special identity of that person is, right? uh, Whether color, sex, whatever. I mean, these days, I mean, it's, as you know, it's a hotbed of things there. So, so the master went on to just describe their student, and this, of course, was 40 years ago. You're not going to get you could get actually pretty good detail on this story, but obviously it's going to be kept to basic facts. And this particular student was a very serious student, and never had a loss of temper, okay, in Doji, and did a lot of training on their own. They were into full contact training, and by full contact, um, you're talking using sandbags, working out on trees. I mean, whatever. Obviously not full power, but if you got hit with the blows landing on the tree, it would hurt, but it doesn't hurt the person training. It's just good, solid. And obviously, you better be doing your technique right, right? Yeah. And good control. That's the gig. Control, because you're hitting something that's immovable. But this person, um, you know, was a serious um, martial artist. Okay, and as a serious martial artist, they had some serious techniques that, in a close environment like that, on an attacker, um, in the hospital like that, seriously. I mean, possibly even dead. I mean, it depends on how serious it is. Is the attacker attacking with a knife? Uh, you know. So this person was quite well trained, had good self-control, good discipline, the whole thing. Now, the problem when people hear of something as shocking as so and so hit so and so at such and such business, okay? Everybody, I mean, unless they know the exact layout and they've actually seen it and they understand, people tend to create in their own mind an image of what they're seeing. So a lot of people might say, "Oh my God!" They might see it as, did it happen by the water cooler? Did it happen in the person's personal space in their cubicle? Did the guy just have a temper problem, or did the gal just want to, have a temper problem? Right. Especially if it's all based on emotionalism. However, the person that got attacked in this particular situation was put in a really conundrum. I mean, it's like, the other thing about this person, right? They had put themselves through, I think, college and came out with only a $4,000 student loan. They were nose to the grindstone type of person. Okay. Um, After this incident occurred, well, that day, the attacker, the actual attacker, okay, that was their last day. The person, um, the martial artist, the actual victim of an assault continued to work there for 5 more years. So, but we're going to get into why such a conundrum happened in that environment. But before we go, I want to introduce you to just the concept of how there's reaction time and muscle memory and training, and all of us have had instances in our lives when you in a split second were presented a serious situation, and you either took immediate, but without thinking, that's happened to me quite a few times in my life, actually. But I'll never forget the time I was driving down a road that was 2 lanes on each side. I think it was Route 10, okay, um, just north of the town center of Hamden. And a Yukon acted like I wasn't even there. And I mean, this is a road where you're traveling about 40. And they just went, whoop, and it would have been a complete head-on. And I was fortunate. There was no other traffic behind them, but it was an instant. It was either I took action or it was going to be a head-on. Boom, made the turn. And another instance with a car I can think of. Driving down 95, approaching the Q Bridge. It's not called that anymore. Matter of fact, the bridge is new. But I can remember, I think the person in front of me, actually passed the 91 and stopped. So what are you going to do? You're driving 55, okay, 60, whatever it was, and all of a sudden somebody in front of you is like, oh shit, I just passed 91, and they stop. Again, I had one split second, and I was fortunate. I just cut the wheel to the left, and I took that ramp, okay? Like, whew, I didn't brake nothing. I just, whew, and took that ramp and went up 91. Now, I wasn't going, I hit that 91 interchange. The person behind me, I could hear it as I took that sharp turn and just went, whew, right up that 91 interchange. I heard screeching tires, and bam! I mean, there's so many examples. We can think of it, okay? Okay, so what happens? The student, the serious student, who's in the full contact training, and I mean, really could hurt people. I mean, seriously hurt people. And this person, all of a sudden, they were in the corner, the martial artist. They had done something there, and they had in that corner, and when they turned around, the back of this person, they quickly spun around, and they had a blunt instrument in their hand, raised above their head, and they had this look on their face like they wanted to smash your effing skull in. Just like that. The last thing that you expect is to be assaulted in that manner in a work environment. So, what did the serious student of the master do? Well, use the technique, the least destructive technique in a close situation like that, where you have no time to think at all. Even if you push the person away, they could have gone over the edge of a desk, hit the floor. The actual office itself, or that particular room, was just loaded with crap. Okay, so a push could even have been worse than just a stun punch. So what occurs is their training takes over. I mean, it's just like they're standing there. Next thing they're presented with somebody brandishing a blunt instrument with their right hand, with a look on their face, I'm going to smash your effing skull in. they immediately did a hooking thing, a hooking block type of a circular, and they grabbed that blunt instrument in their hand and they swung it down. And then when that occurs, it's instant. Their hips locked, their stance is lowered. Now that other person, okay, their left hand started coming up to enter the fight because of what was going on with the right hand, with that blunt instrument pulled down. So what ends up happening is he's got the inside. The martial artist has got the inside. And he just held back just a little. Because when he trained that technique, it was like one after the other. Hook, block, bam. Hook, block, boom. But just a second. But he let it go. And he hit the person in the cheekbone with a speed punch. So what did the person do? They called somebody outside the office. The person outside the office didn't know squat about what had occurred. They call the police. The police show up. It happens to be a friend of the family of the person that just got whacked. And and now guess who gets the ticket written? Yes, the martial artist. The martial artist had the ticket. Right. The person that was assaulted, and in a blink, had to make a decision. It'd be pretty quick. It was just reaction time. It was just split second. We've all experienced that. Their training took over. They didn't have time to hate somebody. They didn't have time to feel hate towards anybody. They didn't have time because, they might have hated their father or their mother or whoever it was, and they got a problem. I mean, because this is the shit that goes on once the gossip gets going. But this gets really good. Now he's got a ticket, right? Yeah. Yeah, she's got a ticket now. She's got a ticket. Oh, my God. And you're like, now what? Person went through college, right? About $4,000 in debt, 5 tops. And now they go to an attorney and they're like, well, I was assaulted. They're like, well, they wanted it to go away, okay? Now, they probably went to an attorney because that was recommended by their employer, actually. And there's a whole lot that was going on with the employer, okay? With a situation in that office that was creating instability for the operation. But they wanted to just quiet things down. Of course, the person wanted to quiet things down. So you go to an attorney, and they go, well, we'll just let this go away. We'll just make a breach of the peace. It's no big deal. It's like a speeding ticket. And again, this is before the 1992 assault weapons ban and all the laws on firearms. Now, all of a sudden, a minor, right, breach of the peace. Now, why should they, interfere with you getting a weapon? We'll finish that thought today in today's world. But why should that person have pled guilty to a misdemeanor because it's just a little thing, just make it go, it's not a big deal? Why should they do that? Now, what does that indicate to people? They're the guilty party. But in reality, this person was going to have to go out, and this is, in retrospect, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. So now what are they going to do? Right? They just make it go away. And just go on with their life. And they just think, and a few years later, the thing disappeared. It was expunged. Because the whole situation that occurred in that office was so over the top ridiculous, okay, and wrong, that somebody affiliated with the office that had the ability to do so had it expunged and removed. However, it was not removed from public memory, was it? Nope. Matter of fact, it's like 2 years later, our martial artist here in a business environment had someone actually say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you hit a oh right a special class. You hit a." Now, could you imagine if this was a female-dominated business and this person was a male, and it's rumored that he hit a woman in an office? Your reputation's toast, Jack. And now you're a woman beater. Now, the worst thing this person ever did, I think at age 25, was end their marriage in a bad way, okay? And one time they grabbed their ex and scared them. And what their ex got was 12 years of bullshit that had nothing to do with them, okay? But it was the worst thing the guy ever did. Yes, he laid a hand on a woman once. Never did it again. Ever. 40 years. Never. Because when he had done what he had done, it was totally out of character for him. Total. So now, what do you have? The birth of a misogynist, woman-beating, the whole thing. Years later. And it's like, again, everybody creates in their own mind. And now it's like, well, oh my God, he must have hated his mother, or she must have hated his father, or, you know, or the person's a psycho, must be out of control. Holy mackerel. You can see the problem here. So, this is the reality, folks. You get involved in a situation like that. You have no money. You just got out of college. You worked your way through school. You were a nose to the grindstone guy. You had your shit together 100. And then somebody who's whatever, okay, pulls some shit thing at work. And now it's like, you got to go out. And I'll be honest. Okay? 100%. And this is what the master said. They needed to go out and take a loan to defend their character. They didn't realize they ended up really in a bad way. Something followed that's not right, not correct, followed somebody their whole life. And they were the ones that were assaulted. So when they went to the attorney, but I have a feeling the attorney was just wanting to make it go away, and who knows? It was just like, just quiet the whole thing down. This happened years ago, so many years ago, okay? It was like, it's no big deal, just whatever, it just whatever. Not thinking. What that attorney should have said is like, kid, I know you put yourself through college and only had $4,000 or $5,000 in debt to show after 4 years of college, and that's fantastic. And yeah, I know you're out of school and the whole thing, and you know, but you're going to have to go get a loan. You need to get me a retainer. We need to go over the facts of the case. We need to make it public. Public. There you go. That's what had to be done. Because this type of an incident, you might learn of 3 years later or 2 years later. Or like the actual person. You hit and it's like, you're talking, that's nasty. To have that type of a rumor within a business that you're in. So that's the bottom line. They needed to defend their character. If they had to borrow $15,000, $20,000, whatever it was, because they would have paid it off. And you know what? The pain, because this person if they, on a countersue, okay? Because that's exactly what should have happened. They should have been sued immediate for assault and, I don't know. We're not going to go any farther, I think, but assault for sure. And everything needed to be made public. They needed to be made public. Period. All the facts of the case. And you know what? It would have been embarrassing to the attacker. Especially when you look at, okay, and they're going, oh my God, but he was such a, they didn't do any martial arts and he did. It's all bullshit, you see. All bullshit. You know what the master would have told that person? What were you thinking? You attacked a tiger. What did you expect? No, seriously, I had to talk about this, okay? Because years later, the person had to deal with a false perception based on a very nasty situation involving self-defense, and then having to cope with what a lot of victims have to cope with these days is the attacker actually becomes the victim, and the victim actually is the one that has that goes after the gets the one that ends up being given a ticket or arrested or God knows what. We've seen it with firearms, right? So self-defense is a very thorny issue, but defense of character was a must for this individual. A must. And the person who was the attacker, they got a speed punch on the cheekbone. This person practiced neck breaks with sandbags. They had at least a half a dozen techniques in that little space that could have fired off in a blink that would have killed the person or seriously injured them. So you need to define hitting. You need to define the whole thing. That was a love tap, baby. That was to end the fight. Boom! Right there. And it did. Well, I had to share that story. Really did. Because it's so apropos even to the times we live in. And this is a story that goes back 40 freaking years, and we had this shit going on. Even then,